It's always the way, isn't it? It had been quite a while since we got a new released boxed game for history's greatest console, the Sega Master System. But not 2 weeks after we reviewed the really excellent Dangerous Demolition by Ludoscience, then publishers Kote Gamers have a second one for us. Vertically scrolling shooter Mecha8 from Oscar Toledo Gutierrez. But unlike Dangerous Demolition, this one does not come to us courtesy of the SMS Power coding competition. It comes to us from the MSX, where in a similar competition for that machine, it took 5th place a decade ago, and also has a ColecoVision port. Here's a very quick look at it on MSX. The competition notes apparently describe it as how Aleste would look on the MSX. Ignoring for a moment that the mildly upgraded MSX2 did get Aleste, it makes an SMS version brave for 2 reasons. Firstly, that if there's one thing the Sega 8-bit homebrew scene already has, it's an Aleste-like shooter. Flight of Pigorus from Kage-san and Two Minds is probably in the top 10 games for the system, and it's only a couple of years old. But more to the point, unlike the MSX1, we've already got Aleste. The Master System got Aleste 5 months before anyone else. In fact, we've technically got 2 of them, because us Brits know it as Power Strike, which literally is Aleste, with the very Japanese storyline snipped out. And Power Strike 2 is not an Aleste conversion, but a new Aleste-like game, and an exclusive, which probably accounts for some of its status as one of the most expensive UK releases, and by extension, one of the 2 I don't own. So this does have its work cut out for it, and it's a neat 3-way battle, because in reality, the €50 plus shipping Mecha8 will cost you is just slightly under what either Pigorus or Power Strike goes for these days. The game has quite a nice scene-setting intro, with a basic but serviceable and engaging story. Trisha Thunder is never going to wrestle any crowns from Lara Croft as a character, but her all-outer bubblegum style works perfectly well to push the story forward in the between-level cutscenes. And you're going to become intimately familiar with said cutscenes because they are not properly skippable, including the one before level 1. It's a rant of mine, but one fundamental requirement of an arcade game is that the one more go you should want happens instantly, and here there's quite a bit of annoyed pummeling of the fire button to get there. It's not a major thing, but it's something that games like Pigorus get dead right. To be fair, as we're about to see, a game of Mecha8 tends to last longer than most shooters, so it's not as big a problem as it first seems. Getting into the game is more interesting. Already this is technically a level above most commercial releases, something I often get to say about today's incredible homebrew efforts. You could say though, in looks at least, this appears to just be a vertical shooter. The game design though has tricks, with an involved power-up and lives system. There are 3 kinds of bonuses you can collect. The E's add to your energy, as anyone who went to a club in the 90s will attest. The P tokens, shut up at the back, add to your weapon power. The S tokens the same, but to your speed. That these appear to have 3 levels feels like it's going to be restrictive, but it's the damage system that's interesting. While your energy is essentially a life bar, if you get hit, then you will actually lose a level of your speed instead until that is back to 1. Then a segment of power, until likewise. Only then do you lose energy. And it's this kind of management that leads to decisions on whether it's worth diving across the screen for tokens, which if you're at the cap might not even make a difference. Equally though, if you're on full speed, you can tactically take a point of damage knowing you're going to get it straight back. Your final tool is a special move, where doing awesome increments your gauge, which you can trigger with the second button for massive damage. It takes a fair chunk off a boss, and that's how I've been trying to use it, as nothing will nuke your energy like a boss. There's a reason that's a saying. You do want to try and protect your energy. The tokens, even the upgraded EX ones, do not restore a lot, and this is a one-life game. If you lose all your energy, then it's game over, although it does allow continues at the start of your current one of the 6 levels in total. And that's going to happen. This is a pleasingly manic game, as shooters should be. People tell me there's a near zen-like state to playing these games well, and I think this might be the only time I've come close to that. I finished Pigris's 5-minute mode, for instance, but that was less zen and more 5 minutes of panic screaming. This, I was working with the game. And as a novice, I've now reached the end of level 4 with a pretty good idea how I'm going to deal with the boss. Granted, this is of course on the easiest of the game's 3 difficulty settings. One impressive thing about Mecha8 is the sound support. For those who don't know, the Japanese Mark III had an optional Yamaha FM sound module to replace that inbuilt Texas Instruments programmable sound generator that gives the SMS its signature sound. This was built in to the Japanese Master System, but was never available at all in any overseas market. Nonetheless, Mecha8 supports it. For us English language people, you'll be able to hear it in some emulators, and it is supported by my analog Mega SG. Up till now, you've been hearing the standard soundtrack, because frankly, I prefer it. The FM sound is probably better, but it could come from any machine. With a PSG, you know you're hearing Master System. But here's the intro theme in PSG. And in FM. And that difference is reflected in the main game itself as well. It's all something that points to a level of care that is unexpected from a rookie SMS dev and is very much appreciated. Also helpful are the difficulty levels, and they are pleasingly transparent in that the game appears to be broadly the same either way, but with a little less energy and possibly a little more health for bosses. This is important because despite my noted prowess at shooting games, I tend to live in the lower difficulty levels. These though are absolutely viable as a training tool. What I've learnt about the formations and boss attack patterns stood me in good stead when I tried moving up, even if I then died to the first boss. The physical presentation is good too. The manual is nicely comprehensive and includes everything you need to know, but also stories from the game's creation, which is something different to the main. Because I ordered both this and Dangerous Demolition from Kota Gamers, mine also included some game cards and this adorable mini 3D printed Master System, which instantly attracted every single speck of dust in my house. Even without that though, the box is impressively late era Acclaim SMS, but with a nod to the system's heritage with the grid on the spine, which helps it fit on the shelf. And on your shelf is a place you should consider this being. If you don't want to lay out for a box and cartridge, then it's only a tenner from the author's site in ROM file form. And actually, if I have one criticism of this as a package, it would have been nice to have that supplied so I could also play it on an emulator. That said, I do not believe you would regret a cart purchase, especially if you're already interested in their other release. I probably like the actual mechanics of Pigris and Power Strike more, but this has more depth than the former and more style than the latter, with a unique health system. It's not quite the must-get those two are. For a start, if I'm getting to level 4, then I have a feeling the likes of my colleague Bloggo might be waltzing through this like it's not there. And technically it falls slightly short of the other two, but it's a top-notch shooter that flies straight into the top 5 in the genre for the system, and so is worthy of very serious consideration, especially at the price that ROM file version goes for.